If you've been waiting for prices to crash here in Cape Coral, you may be running out of time. Snowbird season is here, buyers are back on the ground, and activity is picking up fast. Inventory has increased, but here's what most people don't realize. We are still well below where we were on inventory at this time just last year. Now, the flood of homes everyone predicted, it never showed up. And those huge price drops that were forecasted, they didn't happen either. Prices adjusted, yes, but value stabilized as demand returned with season. Right now, buyers have options and competition is quietly increasing. Now, sellers are seeing more showings as we head deeper into peak season. Now, by the way, if you're watching this from out of state and you're considering buying or selling here in Cape Coral, there's a link below to book a free one-on-one strategy call with me, like many others have already done. Now, I'll come back to this a little later, but let's keep going. Let's head inside and break down the actual February 2026 numbers so you can see exactly what this means for you. Hey guys, welcome in. I'm Barry Cessna, your Cape Coral Waterfront Realtor, and today we've got a great market update for you. Now, this is the February 2026 single-family home market update for the city of Cape Coral. We're going to dive deep into the numbers. We're going to look at the numbers exactly how they are from the MLS and kind of go into exactly what they mean. We're going to go back 30 days, look how they were 30 days ago, then we're going to look back 90 days and then an entire year. So let's go ahead and dive right in and take a look and see how things are changing and how they might affect your purchasing or selling opportunities here in the city of Cape Coral. The headlines are talking a lot about the wrong thing, and so I like to dive in and give you the exact numbers and show you exactly where we're at and what you can expect going forward. Is now the time to buy? Is now the time to sell? Should you be waiting? Let's go ahead and jump forward. So first up, we want to understand the market indicators. First up is inventory. This is how many homes are currently available on the market, available for sale. This is the supply. Next up, we have median price point. 50% of the homes are selling above this amount. 50% of the homes are selling below this amount. Days on the market. How many days are homes sitting on the market before going under contract? This number is actually starting to slip back the other direction. For probably the last couple of years, we've been seeing it gradually increase, and now it's starting to actually slip back the other direction. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And then, of course, closed sales. Closed sales is how many homes are actually selling here in the city of Cape Coral, and this is the demand. So if we look at supply and demand, this is going to tell us a lot about the direction that the Cape Coral market is heading. First up, we have active inventory. January 2026, we had 2,688 homes currently available on the market for sale here in the city of Cape Coral. October 2025, 2,514, and then January 2025, 1 year ago, 3,499 single-family homes currently on the market, or that was currently on the market in January 2025. As you can see, that's a huge difference year over year. That's almost 800 houses. Actually, it's over 800 houses. So what does that mean to you? That means a lot less supply. Why do we have so much less supply this year than we had last year? There's a handful of different reasons. One is builders slowed down, so we're not seeing as many new construction properties hit the market. Two, a lot of folks pulled their homes off the market last year. They were just putting their homes on the market to see if they would sell. They had a price in mind, what they wanted to achieve. They weren't able to achieve that price, and then they pulled them off the market. And they're going to wait until the market turns because they need to get, or they want to get, that price that they have in their mind of what their home is worth. And then, of course, we've had a couple of small hurricanes go through to the north of us in the summer of 2024. So then once we got into 2025, there are some people that always, after hurricanes go through, they get a little skittish and they do put their homes on the market. This last summer, we didn't have anything close to a hurricane go by here. And so folks were not skittish this year, and we're not seeing as many homes hit the market. So that's one of the big things that we need to understand here. And just for your own peace of mind, we've only had one hurricane hit Cape Coral that actually did any damage in the last 60 years since Cape Coral has been a city, and that was Hurricane Ian in 2022. And it did cause substantial damage to Cape Coral. However, we have bounced back quite a bit. Almost every house has a new roof, and everything has been fixed up. Still working on the yacht club. If you know that story, it's a long one, and we're hoping that that gets put back together here real soon, as well as the Boathouse restaurant. All right, so look at the chart down here. As you can see, back in January 2025, this was our inventory. We peaked in January, February at that 3,500. We actually went just over 3,500 once we got into February. However, as we got through season, a lot of those homes got bought up. And then once we got out of season, many of those homes were taken off the market. And we started to see that decrease happen through the summer, June, July, August. And then we kind of stabilized in September. And then as we prepared for season, we started to see some more homes hit the market. We had a little run in October, November that depleted some of that inventory. Then we dropped, and then of course January we had some more homes hit the market, raising that inventory just a bit to 2688, but nowhere near the 3499. I was predicting that we might get close to 3,000 homes hitting the market for season, but we didn't even hit that. We're not even close. And so what that means is if we have that demand, and we're going to look at buyer demand here in just a minute, but if we have that buyer demand with so much less inventory, we may see prices start to jump. So did they jump for January? Let's take a look. Median price point in January 2026 was $376,000. October 2025, $374,000. And January 2025, $375,000. Year over year, not much change. And I know last January 2025, people were panicking. They said, oh, the prices in Cape Coral are going to drop. They're going to drop, but they're way overpriced. They're going to continue to drop. Which when we were in peak season, peak time, right after the pandemic, June 2022, before they raised interest rates, we did see prices in the mid 400s. That was our median price point. However, by the end of 2022, prices dropped about 20% due to interest rates rising and the hurricane going through in September of 2022, which did not help the market at all. We saw those prices continue to drop to about 400,000. And then over the last couple of years, we've been right around 400, just under 400, and this is about as low as it's been. However, if you look at the chart down here for median sales price, basically we've stabilized since where we were at last year. February, we actually hit 400,000 as the median price point last year, but last January, we were at 375,000. So those folks that were saying that, oh, the market's going to drop, it didn't drop. This is where we're year over year, we're at 0% change almost. Very little change year over year for the price of a home here in the city of Cape Coral. We did jump up a little bit in November, and then December we came down a little bit more, and then January we dropped slightly more as well. But right now, median price point in Cape Coral, about $375,000 for a single family home. Okay, days on the market. Now this one's changed. So January 2026, we're at 44 days on the market. October 2025, 61 days on the market, and January 2025, 49 days on the market. As you can see, the chart here, we haven't hit 44 days on the market since, I believe it was 2024, probably the beginning of the middle of 2024 is when we last saw that number that low. We saw it steadily increase and really hit high numbers back in February and March of last year, and then we saw it increase throughout the spring and summer. And now we're just dropping because those homes are selling. We don't have as many homes sitting on the market, so people are actually starting to buy homes. Not investors, but regular folks are starting to buy homes that need some updating, that are priced a little better because they're seeing, before last year, it was if the home was updated, it was great, it was priced right. Those are the homes that sold. But now people are starting to take some of those other homes off the market because they're priced well and they're willing to do a little bit of work, and they just don't have as many options, 800 less options than they had last year at the same time. So more buyers here this year, less supply. Eventually those prices are going to start jumping. Next up, closed sales. Now January 2026, 296 closed sales. October 2025, 426 closed sales. And last January 2025, 263 closed sales. Now, we always see a low number at the end of January for closed sales because either homes that went pending around the end of November or into December, where we just don't have a lot of buyers here looking at the end of November because of the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And so this number always slides. However, we did do almost 40 more houses this year than last year. Now, next month, we're starting to see a lot of pending homes now. So I'm pretty confident that next month, once we get into February, we're going to be probably very close to this 400 mark. And then once we get into March, we're going to be over 500 homes sold here in the city of Cape Coral. As you can see how it works typically, last year we were pretty low, the lowest we've been in quite some time for that January. We actually jumped up. I was expecting this year to be a little over 300 for January 2026. Didn't quite make it. We got close, but not quite over 300. February last year was a slow jump as well. I see it jumping faster this year. I'm confident we're going to beat last year's numbers. I suspect we're going to get to 400 homes sold in the month of February. So we're going to keep an eye on that number. We'll do that number next month when we do our report. As you can see, this is when the folks are here. People come in January, February, put homes under contract, and then we're closing March, April, May, strong, June, all these months, over 400 sales here in the city of Cape Coral. We're going to see this again this year, only more. We have more buyers here this year, more buyer confidence this year. We're seeing interest rates lower this year. A lot of things happening here in Cape Coral. We're not dropping. We're rising in property values here real fast if this continues on, unless there's any type of major shift on the overall market of the United States. That's the only thing that I see that could really hurt us at this moment, because right now in the city of Cape Coral, we're seeing a lot of buyer demand. We're still extremely affordable compared to some of our other markets in north of us, say in Sarasota, or south of us in Naples. I don't know if you saw the recent post by Ryan Serhant, who's one of the brightest minds in real estate, and he has some Netflix shows, and he's a broker out of New York. But he just recently said that the Fort Myers, Cape Coral area is like the old Brooklyn. It's poised for enormous growth. Over the next 10 years, property values in these areas, in our local area here, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, are going to increase substantially over the next 10 years. And that's due to the fact that people can no longer afford Naples or Sarasota. So those folks that got priced out of those markets, who still want to have this amazing Southwest Florida lifestyle, are coming here to Cape Coral, because we've got amazing opportunities that are extremely affordable to be able to park your boat right in your backyard and navigate out to open waters for a day of island hopping, fishing, whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to go to lunch at one of the local eateries on the water, but we've got a lot of opportunities, still extremely affordable. Imagine this: you can park your boat in your backyard at your 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home here in Cape Coral for as little as $600,000. Actually, we can go quite a bit lower than that, but we can get you something that's nice on the water for $600,000. Now, if you want something that's updated, really nice, you're probably looking at about $800,000. And if you want luxury, you're at $1 million. But to have a luxury home on a Gulf access canal where you can park your boat in your backyard for $1 million, if you go to Naples, you're paying $3 million. If you go to Sarasota, you're paying $2 million. So a lot of opportunities here in Cape Coral, and our market is still on the verge of switching over to that luxury market. But we're not there yet. We're still affordable. So if you're looking and you're thinking, you're trying to decide, there's a link right below. You can go and book a strategy call with me, and we can chat about the local area, and if it makes sense for you and your family to buy here in Cape Coral. Maybe you're looking to buy a second home. Maybe you're looking to relocate to the area. Maybe you're looking to buy a home now and you're going to be retiring in a couple of years. We can chat about that and decide what the best steps for you to take would be. I've helped a lot of people achieve their dream homes here in Cape Coral, and I'd love to help you as well. Now, next up, we have numbers, months of inventory. And I think this is important to understand and to watch, because this tells us how the market's going, how much inventory we have compared to demand. So for January 2026, 9.1 months of inventory. This is how many months it would take to completely sell out all of our inventory at our current rate of demand. So if we didn't have another new house come on the market, it would take us 9.1 months to sell out all of our homes. And now that jumped quite a bit from where we were the last several months. You say, Barry, what's going on? Is the market slipping? Is it going back the other direction? Well, no, it typically happens this year where we see the months of inventory increase because our sellers understand that this is when the buyers are here. So we see a lot of inventory hit the market, and then it takes another month or two for that to catch up. And we'll see that what happens here in the next couple of months. That number's going to drop right back down again. But where were we at comparison year over year? Last January 2025, we were at 13.3 months. So a substantial difference from where we were last year. October 2025, almost 6 months. And this is what I tell people: 6 months or above is considered a buyer's market. Below 4 months is considered a seller's market. A neutral market is 4 to 6 months of inventory. My yellow line here shows the neutral market line. And then if we look at January last year, it was huge. And then we dropped in February, and then we went back real close to that 6 months of inventory mark. And we stayed there from March 2025 all the way to December. We jumped a little bit in November, all the way to December, and then that inventory hit the market and it bumped us up a little bit, but nowhere near where we were last year. I'm pretty confident that over the next couple of months, we're going to get down to the yellow. We're going to be at 5 months of inventory. Probably by March or April, we're going to be in the mid fives, and we'll probably stay there throughout the summer. I don't think we're going to move much from there because we are seeing the buyer demand pick up, and we're just not seeing near as much inventory hit the market. And that just means one thing, that our months of inventory is going to drop quite a bit. So current trend, so first week of January of this should say 2026, but first week of January 2026, new listings hit the market, 104 new listings, sold 95. And then if we jump down here to where we have pending, we had 89 went pending, price increase 14, and price decrease 180. So we're still seeing a lot of price decreases, not as many as we were seeing. But let's jump to February. So February, we had 227 new listings. So people got their homes ready to go throughout the month of January. They weren't ready after Christmas. It took some time to get them on the market. And then the first week of February, we had 227 homes hit the market. But we had 106 sold. But jumped on down here to pending, and we had 178 go pending. That's incredible. And that number is going to keep increasing because we have so many buyers here. Now, sellers, we saw some increase, that's 23, and then decrease, we had 309 decreased homes. So prices decreased. Sellers said, I need to take advantage of the current market. And that's what happened. People price their homes slightly high right now. They're not pricing them near as high as what they were doing a year or two ago, where they were just throwing them on the market, seeing what they could get. No, a lot of agents have been educating their clients. Their clients understand what the market's like, and then they're able to price them accordingly. And so right now, over the next couple of months, is when sellers want to capitalize. So if you are a seller right now and you are needing to sell, right now is the time to sell in the season. So if you've got a good offer, or an offer that's anywhere near where you're looking for, I would strongly suggest that you consider that offer, because if you wait until we get into May, June, July, then you might be sitting a little bit longer and you're probably not going to get the money you're looking for. So right now is your time. That's why we're seeing a lot of price decreases, 309 price decreases the first week of February. All right, other key numbers to be aware of. Sold price per square foot, $244 a square foot. This number is actually a bit higher than it has been lately. And one reason for that is we are selling a lot of the smaller homes right now. We did see the golf access homes selling quite a few here in the last couple of months. And then this month, we saw a lot of buyers come in and pick up some of the smaller stuff. And that's why that price per square foot raised up. List price received, 96.5. Now, it has been at 97.5 for the last few months. So sellers, this means sellers are actually giving more discounts right now in order to have their houses sell. 96.5%, so an extra percent. And that just goes back to sellers understanding the current state of the market and understanding that right now the buyers are here. So if you've got a good market or a good option or offer, you want to take advantage of that. New listings, 896 new listings came to the market in the month of January. How does that compare to last January? We had almost 1,200 new homes come to the market in the month of January last year. So that's 300 homes different than we were year over year. So still a lot of homes hitting the market. That means great opportunities for buyers. However, not near as many as we had last year. And then we just talked about months of inventory, 9.1 months of inventory. I do fully expect that number to decrease next month and then decrease further, possibly getting into the mid fives of inventory once we get into April. Okay, other key numbers to be aware of. I like to look at the big picture numbers. These are the numbers that kind of help us understand what's happening with interest rates and the overall market. So inflation, we peaked at 9.1% back in June 2022. That's when they started lowering interest rates. Raising interest rates rather rapidly, which sent our market kind of into a spiral where we lost about 20% of the value of our market here in Cape Coral. Now, from 2019 or the first part of 2020 through 2022, our market almost doubled in value. So to lose 20%, it really wasn't a lot compared to how much we gained over those 2 years. We're now at 2.7% in inflation. We like to be under 2%. Last month we were at 2.9%. So we did tick down just a little bit to 2.7% inflation. Interest rates, November 2023, we peaked there at 8.01%. We're now sitting at about 6.25%. Sometimes you can get a rate a little bit better than that, a little bit worse than that. But right now we're sitting about 6.25%. Our target's to be under 6.5%. I said that for a long time. If we got below 6.5%, we would start to see things change. We start to see more buyers coming into the market. We are doing just that. We're seeing a lot more buyers hit the market than we were in the last year or two. Now what we're looking at is below 6%. If we get into the mid fives for any length of time, it's over. You lost your opportunity. So right now things are churning. Right now things are moving. Right now things are ticking the other direction for buyers. It's not going to be in your advantage in the next few months if we continue to see interest rates stay there or go into the mid fives. Prices will increase for sure. Unemployment is currently at 4.4% and staying steady. So
We were seeing it right at 4%, right below 4% for a couple of years. We did tick up to about 4.4%, so it did rise up just a little bit. We're going to keep an eye on that as well. Is that going to continue to rise? Because if so, that's going to signify a weaker market, which then would lower interest rates. So we're going to watch that as well. Now, current inventory here in the city of Cape Coral, like we talked about, 2,688 homes currently available in the city of Cape Coral. Last year over year, we had almost 3,500 homes. That's a 23.2% decrease. Almost a 25% decrease. Where'd all the home go? Well, we talked about that. Builders stopped building. Not completely, but they've slowed down. Folks that weren't getting the price that they wanted for their homes just took them off the market. A lot of things going on. So when you hear people say that inventory is out of control here in Cape Coral, or the foreclosure market is just out of control, it's just not the case. Right now, the inventory is low. I say 25 to 2,700 should be a pretty healthy market here in Cape Coral with the amount of people we have living here, the amount of homes that we have here. If we're anywhere from 20, well, I like 2,500. I think that number is a great number. If we stay right at 2,500, that's a pretty neutral market. We're still slightly above that, but we're going to see what happens over the next few months. But pretty confident that number is going to shrink pretty fast once we get into April and May. Demand, population estimated now at 240,000 people living here in the city of Cape Coral. We're expected to hit 260,000 people by 2050, 320,000 by 2050. So we're often ranked as one of the fastest growing cities in Florida. We recently got ranked also. I put out a post on that just a few days ago where we were ranked one of the safest cities in Florida as well as the country. We were the number 2 safest city in Florida for crime, things like that. And then we were the number 11 in the entire United States for a big city when it came to criminal activity. So if you're ever concerned about Cape Coral, is Cape Coral safe? Well, we're one of the best in the whole entire country for safety. All right, is now the time to buy? Let's talk about this a little bit. Is now the time to buy? Absolutely. You still have options, a lot of options. You don't have as many options as you did last year. You are seeing lower prices still. We're still very affordable. Our prices have not gone up yet. I repeat, they haven't gone up yet. I don't believe they're going to drop much further or at all, but they haven't gone up. And so you really need to pay attention. We've been in a neutral market for the last several months. This last month, we actually jumped to a buyer's market at 9.1 months of inventory. However, we're going to be right back into that neutral market here in the next couple of months. So right now is a good opportunity. It means you do have opportunities to buy, different options to buy. However, they will start to dry up pretty quickly if you don't take advantage. If you're trying to hit the bottom of the market, now's the time. I've been talking to a lot of my clients, and a lot of my clients that I've been talking to for a couple of years are now calling and saying, Barry, it's time, let's go. And we've put one house under contract here just in the last couple of weeks. I've got another buyer that's trying to get one under contract right now. That they've been waiting and they've been waiting and they've been waiting, just like a lot of you've been doing. And now is the time. And now they're jumping back in and they're calling me and they're saying, Barry, it's time, let's go. And I believe so, 100%. It's time, because if you wait much longer, you're going to be paying more than you need to. Okay, sellers willing to negotiate. How much longer? So again, sellers are willing to negotiate right now. They understand that this is go time. February, March, April, May, go time. If they don't sell their house then, they're going to get stuck with it. So they're willing to take offers and they're willing to give discounts on the prices of their homes. All right, is now the time to sell. Again, why do you want to sell? We're getting close. We're still in a buyer's market. However, if you do need to sell, you want to sell, and you've lived in your house since before 2020, then it may be a good time to sell. Folks that bought their house in 2022, 2023, 2024, it may not be the best time to sell. I always tell people when they're buying, you need to buy with the intention of owning your property for at least 5 to 7 years. That makes smart financial sense. However, I do understand that life changes. People get transferred. Maybe somebody gets sick and they need to move back in with their family up north. They need to sell their house here. I get it. That happens from time to time here in the city of Cape Coral, like it does anywhere else. So if you do need to sell, I understand that, and we're going to do our best to price it correctly. I'm going to give you the overall market analysis. We're going to give you the comps. We're going to show you exactly what your house can sell for if you do need to sell it. If you're just trying to get top dollar for your house, you may want to hold it another year or two, and you will see those prices increase and you will get more money for your property. Now, inventory and rates are trending down right now. So inventory is starting to go down. So when inventory drops, typically prices go up. When rates drop, prices go up. So it's heading in that direction for sellers, but we're still not seeing prices increase quite yet. However, we may see those increase here in the near future. Strategic selling, this is what we do best here. As your waterfront realtor, I love to put your home in a strategic place. You know, we use social media, we use AI, we use drones. We really understand the market and understand what it takes to get your home sold. So if you are looking to sell, you need to sell, go ahead and reach out to me. Go ahead and click that link. We help a lot of sellers and buyers from out of state. We have an out of state buyers program and sellers program where we can do Zoom calls. I'm able to go over and do videos for you, show you the properties. If it's your home that you need to sell, I go over and analyze the property. You don't need to be here. I do the video for you. I talk about what's great, what's not, what we can do to get it sold for you. If it is something you want to do and go forward, then I'm happy to help you sell your home. Now, next up, like I said, I would love to invite you to click that link below where we can do a complimentary consultation. We can chat about what it is that you want to achieve. We can dig a little deeper into the market. We can talk about Cape Coral a little bit further. A lot of people are just finding out about Cape Coral and the opportunity that's here, and so they want a little more in-depth view of Cape Coral. So I can help you out with that. We can set you up with a custom list of homes that might work best for you and your family. And then when you are going to come down here, we're going to meet up. We're going to go look at some houses. We're going to find the perfect home for you. Again, if you need to sell your home, you're up north, you're out of state, go ahead and chat with me. Click that link as well, and let's talk about what it's going to take to get your home sold for you or your family if you're trying to help a family member sell their home as well. So thank you for joining me. Love chatting with you. I love the city of Cape Coral. I love the opportunity that's here. Love living on a canal here in the beautiful city of Cape Coral. So look forward to chatting with you soon. Have a great day.